Global Television News Prime. Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria inaugurates new board members. In business, International Monetary Fund flags cross-border crypto risk for Nigeria. On the foreign scene, Israel unleashes new wave of heavy air raids on Gaza. And in sports, Ancelotti sentenced to 1 year in prison over tax fraud. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Priscilla Obasi. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in detail. The Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has charged the newly inaugurated board of the Federal Airport Authority in Nigeria to align with the ministry's reform agenda and avoid conflict with the management of the agency. Speaking at the inauguration ceremony in Abuja, the minister stated that the board must act strictly in its oversight and policy formulation role. Our correspondent Queen Agaba reports.
Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, told the newly inaugurated board members that the aviation sector is Nigeria's gateway to the world and demands a high level of professionalism and discipline. He urged them to avoid meddling in operational matters, especially revenue departments, which have now been excluded from board supervision.
The journey of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria began with the enactment of the Federal Airport Authority Act in 1996, which established FAN as a pivotal body responsible for the monitoring and provision of airport services in Nigeria. The Act outlines not only FAN's responsibilities, but also the framework within which it operates, delineating our commitment to providing a world-class aviation infrastructure and ensuring that our airports meet international safety and operational standards.
Chairman of the board, Dr. Umar Abdullahi Ganduje, in his remarks, thanked President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the opportunity to serve and pledged to work harmoniously with both the minister and the FAN management team. He emphasized that Nigerian airports must reflect the image of a modern and investor-friendly country.
We would like to appreciate this important occasion, and we have to thank the Honorable Minister for providing an enabling environment for this historic occasion. Honorable Minister, we assure you, as a board, we are facilitators. As a board, we assist you to move this ministry to the next level.
Managing Director of FAN, Olubumi Kuku, assured the board of full cooperation from management. She says the agency is already pursuing several reforms aimed at enhancing passenger experience, strengthening infrastructure, and improving safety standards.
That the Federal Airport Authority will focus on institutional governance. We would work very closely with the board and the ministry to drive the strategic agenda.
The inauguration marks a renewed push by the ministry to sanitize and reposition Nigeria's aviation sector. The new board is expected to play a crucial role in ensuring that policy decisions translate into efficient, world-class airport operations nationwide. For Global Television, Queen Agaba reporting.
The federal government has expressed concern over the recent decision by the United States to impose tighter visa restrictions on Nigerian citizens. In a statement by the spokesperson of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kimebi Ebienfa, the federal government said it viewed the new policy with concern and keen interest, particularly in light of the historically cordial relations between both nations. The government described the move as disproportionate, calling for reconsideration in the spirit of mutual respect and cooperation. Vice President Kashim Shettima has raised the alarm over the devastating impact of malnutrition on Nigerian children, revealing that nearly 40% of those under the age of 5 suffer from physical and cognitive impairment as a result. Speaking at the National Summit on Nutrition and Food Security, the Vice President, represented by Senator Ibrahim Hadejia, announced a new government-led initiative aimed at tackling the crisis. Correspondent Anetie Patrick has more.
At a high-level summit organized by the House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Vice President Kashim Shettima sounded a warning about the growing nutrition crisis in Nigeria. Represented by the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Senator Ibrahim Hadejia, the Vice President revealed that malnutrition is robbing 40% of Nigerian children under 5 of their future, both physically and mentally. To tackle the issue head-on, he unveiled the Nutrition 774 initiative, a grassroots-focused framework designed to deliver nutrition solutions directly to Nigerians' 774 local government areas.
Yet we must admit that the occasion that brings us here today is not celebration. It is a reminder of the burden that we bear, a malnutrition crisis that continues to rob nearly 40% of Nigerian children under 5 of their physical and cognitive potential.
While acknowledging ongoing support from partners like the World Bank, UNICEF, and Nutrition International, the Vice President emphasized the need for unified national efforts under one framework that promotes transparency and shared responsibility. Speaker of the House, Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, warned of the heavy cost of inaction and revealed that Nigeria loses an estimated $56 billion annually, 12.2% of its gross national income, malnutrition. He also highlighted the burden of multiple levies on food transporters, which drives up food prices and worsen insecurity.
Malnutrition stands out as a human tragedy and a development challenge. Millions of our brothers and sisters, especially children and women, suffer the consequences of poor nutrition. This summit must therefore galvanize us to forge sustainable, evidence-based solutions.
Chairman of the House Committee on Nutrition and Food Security, Honorable Chike Okafor, stressed the urgent need for better oversight. He proposed regular training for lawmakers and tighter controls on both local and international nutrition funds.
Beyond the health effects of malnutrition and lack of food, which includes stunting, low birth weight, anemia in children, adolescent girls, and women, there is considerable cost economically.
The committee is also engaging stakeholders nationwide and supporting the rollout of the new Nigerian Tax Administration Act 2025, which is expected to improve revenue flow and boost nutrition funding. Anetie Patrick, Global Television News.
The Senate has expressed strong disapproval over what it described as prolonged marginalization and lopsidedness in the recruitment practices of the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, spanning more than 2 decades. During the investigative hearing on recruitment disparities in federal agencies, the Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs, chaired by Senator Alwell Onyeso, hosted officials from both NAFDAC and the Transmission Company of Nigeria. Tom Sigimba reports.
The chairman, Senate Committee on Federal Character and Intergovernmental Affairs, chaired by Senator Alwell Onyeso, described the unequal regional representation within NAFDAC's workforce, accusing unnamed powerful individuals of manipulating the recruitment process. He insisted that such imbalances could not be justified in a diverse country like Nigeria.
Those areas, and if you follow the history of other ones we've looked at, you will see that for everywhere you have excessive employment, somebody strong comes from there.
Also speaking, the Senate Minority Whip, Senator Osita Ugo Enugu West, linked the mass relocation of Nigerian medical doctors and other health professionals abroad to unemployment and persistent recruitment and bias in federal agencies.
Unemployment is one of the biggest problems in Nigeria today. How can we say we don't have doctors and pharmacists when they are running out of the country? Some can't run because they don't have the means. And some are trying to run because they don't have the job. So if we are open and transparent, we will see these people.
In her response, the Director General of the NAFDAC, Professor Mojisola Adeyeye, acknowledged the concerns raised but clarified the agency had not conducted any recent recruitment. She attributed the existing imbalance to past recruitment exercises and emphasized that addressing the issue will require time.
Also affects us in NAFDAC is the fact that we're a scientific organization. Except for HRM and accounts, we are a scientific organization. Medical doctors, lawyers, veterinarians, pharmacists, and all areas of science.
The committee pledged to continue its oversight functions to ensure transparency, fairness, and equity in public sector recruitment as part of efforts to promote national unity and inclusiveness. Topsy Gimba, reporting for Global Television News.
In another development, the Senate said it is set to begin probe of the Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, as a protest of public interest lawyers to the National Assembly enters day 2. The lawyers stormed the National Assembly, calling on the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, to immediately suspend and prosecute Farouk Ahmed. They also demanded that the National Assembly commence an immediate investigation, recommend Ahmed's sack and suspension. The federal government, the Federal High Court, in Abuja, has fixed July 18 for ruling on a motion seeking to restrain the National Assembly from approving budget or appointment of Rivers government under the current sole administrator. Justice James Omotosho fixed the date after counsel for the applicant Ambrose Owuru and the defense lawyer Mohammed Galadima presented their argument for and against the motion for interlocutory injunction. Retired Vice Admiral Ibok Ete Ibas was appointed as a Rivers sole administrator by President Bola Tinubu following the 6-month suspension of Governor Siminalayi Fubara. Moving on, leaders of major opposition parties in Benue State have aligned with the National Coalition through the launch of the African Democratic Congress ADC in the state. This was accompanied by the inauguration of 7-member pro-tem leadership to oversee party registration at the ward and local government levels, pending the release of official guidelines from the National Secretariat. Benue State correspondent Felicity Ndero tells us more.
The unveiling of the Benue State chapter of the African Democratic Congress ADC, held in Makurdi, brought together a notable array of political heavyweights, signaling a united opposition front ahead of the 2027 general elections. Prominent attendees included former Governor Gilbert Oswam, House of Representative member Yowesi Hembe, and political activist Ihoto Ogbaji, among others. While addressing party loyalists, the pro-tem chairman of the ADC in Benue, Tengu Tegba, urged coalition members to rally behind the leadership in establishing a solid party structure across the state.
Officially resigned our membership of the People's Democratic Party and has declared for African Democratic Congress ADC. Anybody of the legacy parties who want to be a member of the ADC is welcome into the ADC, including the governor. If he wants to join the ADC, we will welcome him. provided he satisfied the requirement of the party.
The interim national chairman of the party, Senator David Mark, represented at the event by Senator Gabriel Suswam, called on party members to own the party and elect their leadership the way they desire.
This party is a party for the people. It's not owned by any one individual. It's not the owner of ADC, the members is not the owner of any one of us in the as leaders. So the party is for the people, it's not for one person. So we want the people to own the party.
And we have thousands of members of PDP from all the nooks and crannies of this state that have moved into this party for one purpose only, and that purpose is to rescue Nigeria.
Coalition leaders asserted that an ADC-led government would present a viable alternative to what they termed the current administration's shortcomings in security, economic management, and national cohesion. In Makurdi, Felicity Ndere, reporting for Global TV News.
You're watching the live broadcast of News Prime. When News Prime returns shortly, International Monetary Fund flags cross-border crypto risk for Nigeria as global market surges 1,511% in 5 years. Details coming shortly, plus foreign and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Thank you very much for staying with us. Now in business news, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has raised red flags over Nigeria's growing use of crypto assets for cross-border transactions, citing substantial risk to capital flow management, monetary stability, and regulatory effectiveness, especially in emerging markets. The warning comes amid a staggering rise in the global crypto market, which ballooned from $211 billion in January 2020 to $3.4 trillion by December 2024, a 1,511% surge over 5 years. Dangote Petroleum Refinery has slashed the depot price of premium motor spirit, popularly known as petrol, to 820 naira per litre from 838 naira per litre as competition heightens in Nigeria's domestic market. The adjustment was also due to the drop in crude oil prices to $70 per barrel, from more than $77 per barrel in June 2025. However, other operators also adjusted their depot prices at different rates in order to be competitive under the current circumstances. Nigeria and 3 other West African cocoa-producing countries are likely to see a fresh 10% output decline in the upcoming 2025/2026 season, despite marginally improved weather conditions. Production has reportedly faced 2 successive below-average harvests before the latest projection. Ivory Coast and Ghana, the world's 2 leading producers, along with Nigeria and Cameroon, account for over 2/3 of global cocoa output as they struggle with shifting weather patterns, aging tree stocks, disease, and destructive small-scale gold mining. On the foreign scene, the British High Commission in Abuja has announced a change to the United Kingdom's immigration processes for Nigerians applying for study and work visas. In a statement from the Commission, revealed that starting from July 15, 2025, most applicants in these categories will begin receiving digital e-visas instead of traditional visa stickers in their passports. The new policy will only apply to applications submitted on or before 15 July 2025. Those who submit their applications before this date will still follow the existing procedure, which includes submitting their passports at a visa application center and receiving a vignette. The Enclave's Health Ministry in Gaza says at least 105 Palestinians, including 7 aid seekers, have been killed and 530 injured in Israeli attacks across Gaza in the past 24 hours. United States President Donald Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu have met for the second time in 24 hours about a ceasefire in Gaza. But there appears to be no breakthrough. The United Nations have warned that the fuel crisis in Gaza due to the Israeli blockade has reached a critical point and will cause further death and suffering in the besieged Palestinian territory. Still on the foreign scene, the U.S. Department of State has limited non-immigrant and non-diplomatic visas issued to citizens of Nigeria to a single entry with a 3-month validity period. In a statement, the United States mission in Nigeria said the move aligns with the Donald Trump administration's reciprocal non-immigrant visa policy impacting several countries, including Nigeria. The mission encouraged Nigerian travelers to respect and adhere to the terms of their visas and ensure travel documents are authentic, accurate, and up-to-date. In another development, the United Arab Emirates (UAE) has imposed stricter visa conditions on Nigerian travelers, including a ban on transit visa applications. This new policy comes less than a year after both countries resolved a protracted visa dispute. Under the revised guidelines, Nigerian nationals aged 18 to 45 are barred from applying for tourist visa unless accompanied. And now we go to the sports news. Head coach of Brazil national team, Carlo Ancelotti, has been sentenced to a 1 year in prison for tax fraud. Ancelotti was found guilty of tax fraud dating back to 2014 when he was in charge of Real Madrid. The Italian was accused of concealing income related to his image rights. And still in sports, Ahmed Musa will continue playing for Nigeria Premier Football Club Kano Pillars despite his current status as general manager of the club. Musa was appointed general manager for the 4th time Nigerian Premier Football League champions last weekend. The former Leicester City player has officially assumed the role. And still in sport, La Liga has rejected Real Madrid's request to postpone their first match against Osasuna in the upcoming 2025/2026 season, according to Carrusel Deportivo. Madrid has officially requested the postponement of their first La Liga game of the new 2025/2026 season. The Los Blancos, Osasuna, and the Royal Spanish Football Federation has all agreed to set the match on October 29. And here we end the Global TV News Prime. But before we go, let's take a look at the recap of our top stories. We told you the Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Festus Keyamo, has charged the newly inaugurated board of the Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria to align with the ministry's reform agenda and avoid conflicts with the management of the agency. In business, we told you the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has raised red flags over Nigeria's growing use of crypto assets for cross-border transactions, citing substantial risk in capital flow management, monetary stability, and regulatory effectiveness, especially in emerging markets. On the foreign scene, we told you the Enclave Health Ministry in Gaza says at least 105 Palestinians, including 7 aid seekers, have been killed and 530 injured in Israeli attack across Gaza in the past 24 hours. And finally, in sports, we told you head coach of Brazil national team, Carlo Ancelotti, has been sentenced to 1 year in prison for tax fraud. And that is it on Global TV News Prime. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and StarTime channel 276. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen using the handle at Global TV NG. I am Priscilla Obasi. Thank you very much for watching. Good evening.